Is this not giving you like Chloe vibes? Jasmine vibes? Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gita Mary and today we are going to be discussing sustainable footwear. This is something I have seen here and there people requesting. I already have an entire blog post with links to different kinds of eco brands that I stand by, but I thought it would be helpful to sort of expand on the footwear part of sustainable clothing, so that's why I'm making this video today. I am going to show you what kind of shoes I have in my wardrobe, why I picked them, how I found them. I'm going to give you some sustainable brand recommendations, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to acquire shoes in general in a sustainable way. But before we get started, this video has a sponsor. This video is sponsored by Miret, which is a sustainable sneakers brand, and really kind of appropriate for this video today. Miret is a sustainable shoe brand from Croatia, and their products are made sustainably and ethically within the EU. Some of the primary materials used in their shoes are organic hemp, which has a very low carbon footprint, and the soles of the shoes are made from natural latex rather than synthetic rubbers and plastics. I have actually been wearing one of their sneakers for quite some time at this point, for almost a year, because the first time we talked about having a collab was back before lockdown, before the pandemic. So I've been walking in their shoes for quite some time at this point. There's a really cool story behind the making of the Miret brand. The founders of the brand inherited a bankrupt shoe factory from their dad, and they started innovating with sustainable materials, which I think is really cool. Most of their shoes are also vegan. Some of them do contain wool, but other than that, they're entirely made out of different plants that have a very low carbon footprint. So thank you so much to Miret for sponsoring this video. I'm going to get into the shoes a little bit more once we get into the different kinds of shoes that I own. But just a big shout out here in the beginning as well. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's talk about shoes. You can get pre-loved secondhand, vintage or thrifted shoes, but there are a couple of things that I would want people to look out for. First of all, it's actually kind of unhealthy for your feet to be wearing shoes that has been used by other people. So I wouldn't recommend buying pre-loved shoes that has been worn to bits, because that can be really, really bad. And generally, when looking for secondhand pre-loved shoes, I would still go for something that is worn as little as possible. Because so many people buy so many shoes without ever wearing them, it's actually also not that difficult to find shoes secondhand, pre-loved, that has never been loved. So a good example of a shoe that has never been worn but that I found in just a normal charity shop is this bad boy. I love her so much. I just saw that the quality seemed really nice. You could just sort of scan the store and saw it from afar. And then I saw on the bottom it's basically unworn. Look at this. And you can also check the inside to see if there are any markings that sort of indicate that someone has been wearing it. This looked brand new, and then I went home and I looked it up online. It's like 400 euros. I paid a tenner. Then I have some different like brands where I really love the look of the brand, but I would never ever support them in real life. One of them being Vans, and I think it's because I have still sort of like an emo kid living inside of me, but I don't want to support the brand because they're produced like fast fashion, so like no thank you. But I have two different kinds. This is the first one and the other, and this is the other one. I got both of them on online secondhand apps where I can specifically go in and I can search for Vans, and then I can find something that has been worn very little. I wear both of these on a weekly basis because they're really easy to slip into, and I really like the casual look of them. And if you're interested in how to successfully shop secondhand, I also have a video with different tips on how to go about it, where we talk more about the different secondhand apps that you can use that will make it easier for you to find things that you're looking for. Another brand of shoe that I got secondhand that I love and I think I will wear until the end of my days are Doc Martens. I have the very classic black leather Doc Marten boot. This is my very classic concert festival shoe. I love these shoes to bits. They are so super durable, so if you take care of the material, they can last you for decades. And the cool thing about Doc Martens is they're really easy to repair as well if they break. Again, emo kid vibes. I don't think I will ever outgrow this stuff. I haven't ever bought any heels from sustainable brands simply because they've been so easy for me to find secondhand. I think it's because a lot of people buy heels for specific events and then end up not wearing them at all, or end up only wearing them a couple of times before they send them off to a thrift shop. So for me, it's been super easy to find heels secondhand in any sort of regard, but I have made a list of brand recommendations that I've put down below as well. And there are also sustainable heels recommendations, so there are brands that also carry different kinds of heels and not only sneakers and flats. But one of my favorite pairs of thrifted heels I have ever found that I love are two bits is this. It's so huge. I cannot wait to fall on my ass in these shoes. It's fine. But I love the embroidery on the back of the heel and then along the platform as well. These are from a brand called Chinese Laundry, and I think they're just, you know, fast fashion. I don't actually know the brand. That's just always something that I assume because I am that cynical, and also because 98% of all clothing in the world is produced like that. But when you buy something secondhand, even if it's fast fashion, you are not contributing to more things being made, because the money that you're putting into the product don't go to the brand, so you're not increasing the demand for more things to be made. So even when something is fast fashion and you can find it secondhand, I still think that's completely fine and sustainable if it's something that you need. Now, in a sustainable shoe guide, I think it's also really important to talk about shoe maintenance and keep-ups, because that's a really important part of having sustainable shoes and using sustainable footwear. A lot of clothes and shoes are being made today in really poor quality, and it's made at prices where it doesn't really make sense to go out and have it repaired, because having it repaired will often be more expensive than going out and buying new things. And that's a bad. The fact that many shoes can only last throughout one season is not good, and it shouldn't be normal. It is normal right now, but it shouldn't be. Buying footwear that you need to wear all the time on a daily basis from fast fashion brands is a really bad idea, because they simply just won't hold up. They're not made to last. So I do recommend making a bit of an investment if you can in something that you need to wear every single day. One of the best examples I have of this is this pair of Chelsea boots that I got in a vintage shop in Copenhagen, and I have had these resold 2 times at this point. After every winter, I can sort of see them going away ever so slightly, being worn down at the bottom sole. So I just take them to a shoe repair guy, and then they're fixed up completely. It's so nice. They also have leather treatments that is really recommended, and it's also something that will make your shoes last longer if the leather is kept healthy. You can often find shoe repair shops in malls or in places where there are many shops combined together, and from my experience it hasn't actually been that expensive. When I initially got these shoes, I paid 45 euros for them, which I thought was fine for a leather Chelsea boot. I also think, yeah, it's a Tommy Hilfiger Chelsea boot, so 45 euros was fine. And then the first time I had them repaired, I paid 40 euros to have them repaired, and I swear to you, they didn't even look like the same shoe, because I'd worn them for like 2 seasons before I had them repaired the first time, and the leather was sort of becoming undone in certain places or just wearing down, and the bottom sole was completely gone. It took in rain whenever I was outside, and when I got them back, completely new shoe. Completely new shoe. But I think I've still, with my repairs, paid less than the new price for the shoes, so I still feel like a winner. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I've talked about leather shoes a little bit, and perhaps you're thinking, well, Giddy Mary, I so thought that you were vegan. What is this now? I have been exposed. A fraud who values reusable materials over plastics. Oh, no, no, no. I don't know what this is about. I've actually written a blog post about my reflections on wearing leather as a vegan. So I'll give you a little recap here, but otherwise you can go down and read the entire blog post if you're more interested. So here's my thing. Leather today, industrially produced leather, the type of leather that you can see most places, like just generally conventional leather, is produced really, really unsustainably. Most leather today is tanned with chrome, which is both really bad for the environment and really unhealthy for the people who are working with the leather. And then there's also the notion of animal agriculture and how all of these things tie together. Because of all of this, I would never ever buy new leather. But leather is also really durable, really long lasting, and a really good material if you have it for a long time. Which is why when I went vegan, I didn't go out and throw away all my leather goods, because they're really long lasting, and the most sustainable swap is the thing that you already own. So there's really no point in going out throwing away all your old things to buying in new things. Doesn't make any sense, especially not if you're into sustainability, but either way it never makes any sense. There are also different brands on the list that I made that uses vintage leather, so they buy out leather from old products and they reuse it in new ways. I also think that's amazing. Everything that is not conventionally new produced leather, I think is great. Because it's so durable, it can last for a really long time, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes the vegan alternatives are just not good. Just because something is vegan doesn't necessarily mean that it's sustainable, because plastic leather is also vegan leather, and plastic is not a great material to produce or wear. Whenever you wear something that's made out of plastic, it will release microplastics, and that's especially true for something like shoes because you wear them down. So gradually more and more plastic will sort of shed this product. I do not like. There are more sustainable vegan leather alternatives, for instance, like cork, pineapple leather, apple leather, and different kinds of plant-based leathers, and they are all in the sustainability spectrum, some of them being better than others, of course. But they're great vegan leather products, and there are not so great vegan leather products. But if you already have a pair of leather boots in your closet and you don't have any issue wearing them, just keep doing so. That's completely fine. If you don't want to wear leather because of the ethical implications that it can have, give them to someone that you know will use them. Here are some central points to look out for in a sustainable product. Are materials and energy use minimized or optimized? Is there any innovation of sustainable material processes and garment treatments being made? Is the company rethinking the life cycle of a product in a circular manner? Do they prioritize long-lasting or durable products? Is there any inclusion of recycling by making the separation of materials easier? Are there any repair or return policies with a plan to avoid landfill or other disposals of the material? And of course, there's no sustainability without fair wages and workers' rights. Then I have a couple of white sneakers from Carry Uma. This is a Brazilian sneakers brand. They use bamboo, sugarcane, and recycled plastics in their materials, and they're also 100% vegan. As you can see, I really like white sneakers, and one of the things that I do to keep them clean, one is significantly cleaner than the other one, I need to wash this very soon, is that I use a solid stain remover that I've also mentioned in my laundry guide, and I simply wash them over the sink, and I use the stain remover in every place where there are dirt and stuff. So that's how I keep them clean. Okay. The sneaker that I have from Miret is made with organic hemp, both on the inside and on the outside, which is a great material. And these are, of course, also vegan friendly. And I would definitely prefer organic hemp or even organic cotton over bamboo. I am also going to be making an impact video about the impact of bamboo fabrics because there's a lot of greenwashing going on there. It can be really, really good, but there are also some gray areas that I think we need to talk about, but we'll talk about that in another video. Nonetheless, I really like both of these shoes, but I definitely would pick an organic hemp shoe over anything else. Now, I have never called myself a minimalist because I am not. I like clothing, I like styling, and I like expressing myself through my clothing. And I like showing how there are ways of doing that that are also more sustainable, that you don't have to buy from polluting and unethical companies to show your sense of fashion, and there are other ways of doing it. This is a secondhand find. It was basically unused when I got it, and I got it because I found myself to be only wearing sneakers during the day because I only had, sneakers or big heels. So I really wanted a tiny boot with just a little heel. This is something that I wear all the time whenever I go out to give lectures because it has the vibe of something that's a little bit more chic, something that's a little bit more formal, and I really was looking for that whenever I go out and I do my job outside of the internet. Then I have a pair of boots I usually refer to as the Bradstall boots. Is this not giving you like Chloe vibes? Jasmine vibes? I found these in a Red Cross charity shop and I have been wearing them ever since. When I got them, they were actually kind of used already, but they're so amazing to walk in and I love them to bits. They are one of my favorite pieces for winter, wear it all the time. I recently went on national television where I wore them as well. As you can see, my boots are basically just all black leather and I really wanted something that stood out a little bit, so I got myself a white boot. Yeah, from some fashion brand that I don't know. It's probably made horribly, which is why I got it secondhand. I do not recommend a white pleather boot. This is awful. I love them for pictures and all, but and they're just bad. You wear them once and then this happens. I would never buy a shoe like this from new, not in a million years, because it's probably been expensive and you wear it 2 times and it's basically ruined. Now, going from the most impractical shoe that I have to the most absolutely practical outdoorsy shoe that I own. That would be my barefoot shoes from Wildling. I made a video about these in collaboration with them around October. I wear these a lot whenever I have to go hiking. As you can also see, barefoot shoes have a very, very, very thin sole, like very, very thin sole. The reason why that can be really beneficial to you is because it strengthens your foot muscles in general, also ankle muscles. But now let's go back to some uncomfortable, impractical heels. I love the look of the normal slick stiletto. I have a couple of them. I got them all secondhand, and they're absolutely awful to walk in. I never walk in them, so they're also going on Depop. I just need to pull myself together. They're very much but maybe one day I will use them. Another kind of heel that I love way more, that I love wearing, that never hurts me, that I can actually walk in, is something like this. I think this is a great, it has sort of like a sexy 1920s librarian look. I feel like, you know, like Eve from The Mummy would love these. That's sort of my reflections about this. I got this secondhand via one of the secondhand apps. It has a thicker heel and I like that a lot, and it stays on your foot. But I think the heel that I have worn the most times, the heel that I love the most, that I always wear, that feels great to have on, this might come as a shock to many people, but it doesn't actually have a strap, but it does kind of have a strap. It's this. I love this shoe so much. And I will just show, it's from ASOS, so but you know, secondhand, yay. I have used this shoe so many times. Look at this. It's on both of them. They are absolutely, because again, that's what we talked about, the horrible quality thing. They're not made to last. Something that I've been thinking about in terms of sustainability and footwear is that it's great to shop secondhand, and it's great to find something that you know you're not going to be needing on an everyday basis. Even stuff that you do use on a daily basis, it's fine to find something secondhand. We're using something that's already there, and that will always be more sustainable. Not everyone buys secondhand, not everyone has the option to, and it's great to have some companies that you know will do things differently. I think that's super, super important. So I really want to include more sustainable brands and give them a platform where they can also be seen and heard, because that is just as important as buying secondhand. That was my video. I think that's the note that I want to end on. Thank you so much to Mirette for sponsoring this video, and I hope that you liked it. You can check out the blog post down below for everything that I've talked about here, as well as the brand recommendations. And you can always also look for the eco brands that I stand by list that is also on the blog, with all different kinds of clothing, underwear, accessories, swimwear and footwear. And brands, you know, generally, I'm there for y'all. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. I forgot to do the thing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green, zero-waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye.